Brother Bowser.
I'll stand up here so everybody's got a clear line of fire. Can everybody hear me okay? I mean, just because I've got a big mouth doesn't mean I have a booming voice. And I'm going to double check. Okay. I am Decker Sanders. I've lived inside the city limits of Mountain Home since 1988 when the Air Force brought my family and I out here. I've raised 2 children here. I have 4 grandchildren, 3 of which are in my backyard right now enjoying the pool. I retired from the Air Force, spent 14 years in state government. I've worked in the Department of Health and Human Services, Health and Welfare they call it now, the Department of Correction, and in the Office of the State Board of Education and in the Department of Education. Over the last couple of years, I'm starting to see things in government that give me pause. I'm seeing uncertainty, especially at the federal level when it comes to grant funding, a type of instability we've not seen in decades. Grants that were legislated and awarded have been clawed back. You never know what's going to happen next. And our city budget just increased its reliance on grant funding by tens of millions of dollars. We hope that all comes through. I want to work with the city and the people in the city. I want to know what you're thinking. I want to know what you think about our city. I want to know what you think about its future. Because over the next several years, the city will be facing several major decisions. Everything from how we get the golf course back on track, to how we cover insurance in the city for our employees. Their insurance contracts are coming up within this next election cycle. And that's just the start of the kind of decisions the city council deals with every time they come in. Budget in the city has grown, as well as the challenges in the city. But I can't represent you best if I don't know your thoughts. And that's why I have reserved the American Legion Hall for a date in August. It'll be the 20th, September 17th, and October 22nd, where I'll be hosting what I'm calling community conversations. An invitation for you to come in and sit down with me and anyone else that wants to come to it, and we discuss our city and its future. For those of you that want to know more about me, I'll give you the Reader's Digest condensed version as best a politician might know how. But in the Air Force, I had 3 different careers. I was in the military police version of the Air Force. I taught and worked with avionics technology. I did social services. I became a certified drug and alcohol counselor. So I have 3 CCAF degrees from the Air Force in security administration, applied avionics technology, and social services. My bachelor's degree is in social psychology, which is the study of groups. And my master's degree is in public administration, all of which added to 14 years of state experience, from everything from being a program manager to a grant manager on multi-year, multi-million-dollar projects, and as a contracting officer, Department of Correction, in the last part of my full-time working career at the hospital at the Mountain Home Air Force Base as their services contracts manager. Now, I was interested to hear the notion about having a firing range, because right now, to help me pay off my parent loans I took so my children would not have to take on student debt to get through college, I went back to work, and I am a NRA certified Chief Range Safety Officer for the Blackspeak Public Range. So if you want to talk about firing ranges, I'm not sure 1.2 million would do it, because you're talking also in terms of having enough land. You're looking at things like lead abatement, because once you put it in the ground, they're going to make you take it out. You've got, and then for the unfortunate incident last year, that was at George North's range, a little further west of us. That range was unsupervised, which means the range was open for anyone to just walk out and start shooting, and unfortunately, one person did. His partner, who did not survive, they had a fatality there. Where Blacks Creek, the land is owned by Idaho Fish and Game. It's run by a contract through the Idaho Rifle and Pistol Club, and that's a supervised range. You'll find range safety officers there every time it's open to the public. So things to consider as you look for having your own shooting facility here in the city. This is the part where I get to say I'm happy to stand for any questions that don't hurt me.
So you mentioned the State Board of Education. I'd like to know when you were there, because I do have some issues with the State Board of Education.
I was there doing the Luna administration. I worked for the Office of the State Board, and for a 6-month period, I was the interim chief academic officer for the state of Idaho while they searched for a new one. My challenges with that administration was that without notifying me, the superintendent of public instructions at a JFAC meeting requested and received permission to move about almost $7 million worth of funding that had been reserved in a dedicated fund as match on my grant to discretionary funds for the school districts, and I lost the ability to have that grant match coming in. And we were in the 4th year of a 6-year grant. So we had some challenges there, and understandably a little angst. Yes, sir.
It seems like you seem to be the authority on gun ranges. What about, what would the cost be? Because I see down in Salt Lake, they have a lot of indoor ranges where you don't really have to worry too much about the lead abatement part of it.
Actually, not, but I want you to consider, anytime you send lead downrange, whether it's indoor or outdoor, it's going to have to be collected and dealt with.
Correct.
Some of the challenges associated with indoor ranges to consider is the air quality, because you're also discharging primers and gunpowder in a closed environment. I take, for example, you take a facility like Independence Indoor Shooting in Meridian. They have the only, and keep this in mind, they have the only indoor 100-yard rifle range in the Pacific Northwest. I think that's an indication of how difficult it is to have and maintain such a facility when you're backed by a national company and you're the only one in the Pacific Northwest at that distance. And even at that, they don't allow, they actually have their range rated up to 50 caliber BMG, Browning BMG. But still, they have to shut those ranges down, they cycle through them, because they have to go through and do lead abatement, they have to go through and do cleaning of the walls and the sides for all the residues that are there. It's a lot of the principles about a range are the same, but the environment is different. The air filters alone in an indoor facility are going to be pricey because you need them to filter out particulate lead. Yeah, that's like right now, even at Blacks Creek Range, when we do blood tests for lead levels, we have a lot of sand out there in that area. Today, the wind was blowing in at us when I was out there. When I go test my blood levels for lead in about 3 months, I expect it to be elevated. And you never see it. And that's one of the things you have to work to mitigate from the outset. Yes, sir.
Which Legion Hall are you using?
Sorry?
For the meet and greet? Which
The American Legion Hall.
We have two. Are you
I'm sorry.
26?
I think it was four.
Oh,
One just down from Maverick.
It's 26.
Okay, 26.
26.
Okay.
That's it. And there'll be an ad in the paper coming out the next week or so, listing those dates and opening it up to the public. If there's nothing further, Madam Chairman, thank you for your time, and thanks to Chairman Workle for letting me have this opportunity.